It's a reading for the day in lieu of the lesson for the day about forgiveness. I'm going to read The Forgiven World, which is in Forgiveness and the Holy Relationship, chapter 17. It's part 2. Can you imagine how beautiful those you forgive will look to you? In no fantasy have you ever seen anything so lovely. Nothing you see, hear, sleeping or waking comes near to such loveliness, and nothing will you value like unto this, nor hold so dear. Nothing that you remember that made your heart sing with joy has ever brought you even a little part of the happiness this sight will bring you. For you will see the Son of God. You will behold the beauty the Holy Spirit loves to look upon, and which he thanks the Father for. He was created to see this for you until you learn to see it for yourself, and all his teachings lead to seeing it and giving thanks with him. This loveliness is not a fantasy. It is the real world, bright and clean and new, with everything sparkling under the open sun. Nothing is hidden here, for everything has been forgiven, and there are no fantasies to hide the truth. The bridge between that world and this is so little and so easy to cross that you could not believe it is the meeting place of worlds so different. Just forgiveness. Yet this little bridge is the strongest thing that touches on this world at all. This little step, so small it has escaped your notice, is a stride through time into eternity, beyond all ugliness into beauty that will enchant you and will never cease to cause you wonderment at its perfection. This step, the smallest ever taken, is still the greatest accomplishment of all in God's plan for atonement, which is at one man. All else is learned, but this is given, complete and wholly perfect. No one but him who planned salvation could complete it thus. The real world, in its loveliness, you learn to reach. Fantasies are all undone, and no one and nothing remains still bound by them, and by your own forgiveness, you are free to see. By your own forgiveness, you're free to see. And the lesson today says that illusions about yourself and the world are one. That is why all forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Your goal is to find out who you are. Yet what you see is only what you made with the blessing of your forgiveness on it. And with this final blessing of God's Son upon himself, the real perception, born of the new perspective he has learned, has served its purpose. The stars will disappear in light, and the sun that opened up the world to beauty will vanish. Perception will be meaningless when it has been perfected, for everything that has been used for learning will have no function. Nothing will ever change, no shifts nor shadings, no differences, no variations that made perception possible will still occur. The perception of the real world will be so short that you will barely have time to thank God for it. For God will take the last step swiftly when you have reached the real world and have been made ready for him. The real world is attained simply by the complete forgiveness of the old. The world you see without forgiveness. That's what we're looking at, the world of attack, sin, of death, sickness, of loss. The great transformer of perception will undertake with you the careful searching of the mind that made this world and uncover to you the seeming reasons for your making it. In the light of the real reason that he brings as you follow him, he will show you that there is no reason here at all. Each spot his reason touches grows alive with beauty, and what seemed ugly in the darkness of your lack of reason is suddenly released to loveliness. Not even what the Son of God made in insanity could be without a hidden spark of beauty that gentleness could release. All this beauty will rise to bless your sight as you look upon the world with forgiving eyes. For forgiveness literally transforms vision and lets you see the real world reaching quietly and gently across chaos, removing all illusions that had twisted your perception and fixed it in the past. fixed it on the past. The smallest leaf becomes a thing of wonder, and a blade of grass a sign of God's perfection. From the forgiven world, the Son of God is lifted easily into his home. And there he knows that he has always rested there in peace. Even salvation will become a dream and vanish from his mind, for salvation is the end of dreams. With the closing of the dream will have no meaning, just like when you wake up. Who, awake in heaven, could dream that there ever could be need of salvation? How much do you want salvation? It will give you the real world, trembling with readiness to be given you. The eagerness of the Holy Spirit to give you this is so intense he would not wait, although he waits in patience. Meet his patience with your impatience at delay in meeting him. Go out in gladness to meet with your Redeemer and walk with him in trust out of this world and into the real world of beauty and forgiveness. I'm just going to read a little bit of the next part. To forgive is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. So often we think about the opposite, the bad things that happened, how we were attacked. So to forgive, it defines it here for us, is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. And same with the things that we did, just to forget anything that wasn't loving. All the rest must be forgotten. Forgiveness is a selective remembering based not on your selection. For the shadow figures you would make immortal are enemies of reality. Be willing to forgive the Son of God for what he did not do. The shadow figures are the witnesses you bring with you to demonstrate he did what he did not. And because you bring them, you will hear them. And you who keep them by your own selection do not understand how they came into your mind and what their purpose is. They represent the evil that you think was done to you. You bring them with you only that you may return evil for evil, hoping their witness will enable you to think guiltily of another and not harm yourself. They speak so clearly for separation that no one not obsessed with keeping the separation could hear them. They offer you the reasons why you should enter into unholy alliances to support the ego's goal and make your relationships the witnesses to its power. I get this now. They speak so clearly for the separation in the sense of saying that anything could happen to you that isn't perfect and part of God's plan. That's how we think of it as separation, because we think evil was done to us and we have to remember the things that were done that were bad. That way we can protect ourselves. And that isn't accepting how connected we all are and that they were always serving us and always are serving us. And also that it didn't really happen. This is a dream. And why whatever, this is why you see in both what is not there and make of both the slaves of vengeance. And why whatever reminds you of your past grievances attracts you and seems to go by the name of love, no matter how distorted the associations by which you arrive at the connection may be. And finally, why all such relationships become attempts at union through the body, for only bodies can be seen as means for vengeance. All right, so to repeat again, to forgive is merely to remember only the loving thoughts you gave in the past and those that were given you. All the rest must be forgotten. Forgiveness is a selective remembering. It's an important distinction. It's not even a decision, as it says here, or letting go. It's simply forgetting it happened at all. And that makes a lot of sense when you realize that our minds are creating reality. So what we remember and what we put our faith in, if it's our resentment, if it's the things that were done wrong, that's how it projects it on the future, keeps them with us and keeps this constant sadness and hurt present in our lives or repeating in some way. We literally need to forget it, which is an important lesson for me. I definitely thought that by remembering it, you protected yourself more, you could avoid it again, but actually you're sustaining it and continuing it. And that's through the power of our minds as a creative mechanism, because what we focus on grows and actually is creative. So, and I love this beauty about the little bridge, the little step so small it has escaped your notice, is a stride through time into eternity, into all beauty. So it's just about getting positive. It's basically just about forgetting bad that happened and focusing on the positive and having positive thinking and focusing only on the good, appreciating the good. And you don't even have to get into, can I forgive this person for this or that? It's just letting it go and forgiving, like forgetting it. And forgiving is forgetting, which is hilarious because we have a saying, you can forgive, but I'm never going to forget. But if we don't forget, then we haven't forgiven, and it's us who we punish, because if we haven't forgotten it, it's going to happen again and just be a new person. And that's what that bit gets into. But we won't dig into the unholy relationship today. So, beautiful thoughts on the power of forgiveness and making us happy.